Okay, anybody want to say anything about their experience?
Well, this is such a beautiful place to focus in the exterior. You've got the songbirds chirping, and I enjoyed that as I first started focusing on the exterior. But it was really interesting as you know, go with it. The longer you go with it, you hear things you don't hear in your usual trips around town doing errands. You could hear everything out there. You could hear the traffic and the dishes and the water and a random knock. And it was interesting knowing that that's always there, but you don't always see it.
Right.
So who knows?
My dog coughing. My dog going. He makes this lovely sound. He doesn't know how to drink water without drinking too much, so he does this.
It was a divine cough. He was making my point.
Yes, he was. You were talking about sound, and he wanted to contribute something. So you really started to appreciate the rich texture of sounds that we live in.
Well, it makes me think, there's probably so much there that we just completely miss all the time. So it's wonderful to have a process where you can tune into things.
I don't remember the last time I have felt so peaceful, still, and quiet in my body. Really, I got without having the urge to fall asleep I wasn't even sleepy. It's very unusual for me because I have a lot of osteoarthritis. And I noticed it, but for some reason it didn't bother me that much during this sit. And just that stillness for me is really something. Just very relaxing, very peaceful. That was what was so unusual for me during the sit. I'm very grateful for that.
Good. Good. I see you.
It was really interesting because I normally don't feel as aware of the expansions and contractions, but with you guiding me and reminding me, oh yeah, there's expansions and contractions. I noticed the sensation when I was breathing out. That sensation, kind of I think Shinzen calls it the oxygen euphoria relaxation. It was sort of
when you're breathing in is the oxygen.
Breathing in is what I meant. So that sensation was expanding, but there's a boundary in between the muscle space, and in that boundary there was a contraction, pressure feeling.
That's the diaphragm.
And so that was moving in and out. And then I eventually sort of stopped having I started focusing more on just that being sensation instead of being this is in my body. And so then it was just
you're watching simultaneous expansion and contraction in your body.
Expansion and contraction, a whole bunch of it. And then I was aware of it individually, and then I would go and hone in on it, just the contraction part, talking about some of the stuff we talked about on retreat. And I was just oh, yeah.
That is a complete path.
Yeah. And
you could do nothing but just watch simultaneous expansion, contraction, then simultaneous expansion and contraction. Shinzen's earlier teachings, that's all we did.
Yeah.
It's amazingly powerful and can take you to really some juicy places.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and work with that a whole lot now.
I will encourage that.
But the interesting thing is trying to hone in on the simultaneous. I like honing in on simultaneous because it's the pressure is increasing, so my awareness is contracting. But as the awareness is contracting to just that one place, the sensation is expanding or increasing in intensity. So that's
and the sensation takes more of your awareness as your awareness comes in. So you can just watch the awareness expand and contract. You can watch simultaneous that expand and contract.
And then when you made the transition of just yourself and made the metaphor of the breath to the body and then the body to the space out, it gave me I don't like to compare to some of the stuff I used to, but it gave me an experience that was really similar to some other things, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's the fractalingness, like, that's awesome, you know.
We're going for awesome fractaling here. That's what we're going to do.
But
Great.
so yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, but thank you. Good, good, good. Cool. How you doing? I'm looking at you.
Me?
Yeah?
Oh, okay. Helen. Yeah. Yeah, like, as Alan was introducing himself, like, oh, this is awesome. It's sort of like, Alan and Helen, I know these guys. Like,
No, everyone did today. It was like a party.
but he was the first guy who said, hey, I'm Alan. I was like, right on. I felt welcome.
He was the first one, actually. We had a class, because I used to have a class and I didn't have people introduce themselves. And he came in one day and went, can everyone say their names? You know? and then everyone did that. And then the woman next to you at one point, you said, I got a question. She said, what, you want our last names now? So, you were saying, we're going to say.
I've never done a meditation where I focus so much on external of me, and like really getting in touch with the energy of everything outside my body was really, and kind of also getting in touch with that stillness of an energy of inanimate objects. So like I was getting really in touch with like this building, with the ground, and then I started expanding out to the city, to the state. And then like I was trying to go out to like the world point, but it
wouldn't
got a
go.
little lost. And well, then we came back to our body. And
Oh,
I actually.
you were just getting to the world, and she might come back to the body.
Yeah. But I felt like as I went farther out, I felt more of an evenness within myself. Less like kind of like when you pluck a string, it has a large sound at first, and then it just kind of evens off and just kind of. And then as I went farther outside my body, I felt more even. But coming back into my body was actually much more difficult for me, because then I started feeling very aware of like beyond this building, and when I opened my eyes, like it's taking me a little bit of time to really come back to I'm in this physical body, I need to connect to that.
Cool. That's it. First off, the going out, and you said when my awareness was all the way out, you experienced that evenness is the word you had. That's quite an insight that you had there. You might continue playing with that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, evenness. I mean, equanimity can even be translated as evenness, in a way. But that's quite interesting. Wow, I didn't know. As soon as I expand my awareness out, the coming back is interesting. It'll be different for everybody. But the difficulty. And so when you do it on your own, maybe you hang till you're ready. Maybe I brought you back before you were ready to come back, because it's different. You have a group. But this might be a real valuable thing for you to explore. And given what you reported about the coming back to the body, the only thing I will suggest when you explore it is always, I guess the word I want is kindness. Coming back to the body, there's a kind intention in coming back. Like whatever this was, that there's a kindness in coming in. I just want to add that. That softens the experience in a certain kind of way, and when we come back to the body, it can be a whole different experience than it was before we left, right? And we've had our body in relationship to other things, but just if that's helpful.
That touched on something that I didn't even really understand until the second one you said, kindness. Because really, like, going from that evenness and then going back to a chaotic feeling of being back in my body, the easiest way for me to get back in was I connected with the love within my body. And really, when I really connected into love, I mean, that's, like, I felt more within myself.
Yeah.
And
So it's a version of, I'm saying kind intention. Yeah. Wow, I found the love that's easier. We're saying the same thing, and that's also a great insight you came up with on your own, that, the love I was able to connect with, right? Good for you. Good
Thank
for you. It was an interesting journey, and you came up with a strategy for doing it in a good way. Cool. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing good. I feel like
This was your first time
yeah.
meditating ever?
I've tried to meditate a little bit on my own. Like I
Because
had
this
a
was
friend-
long. This was 35
Yeah.
minutes. This was, I
Really?
don't usually, the first time people meditate, say, hey, let's do it for 35 minutes. I usually start people off with 15, so I wondered how you were doing for
Yeah,
30.
I didn't realize it was for so long actually.
That's a
I'm
good
really
sign.
surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I did it before on my own with a friend who where we just sat on a chair and there was a chant actually, and I think it was about 15 minutes or so, and he told me to just really focus on like a mantra or a quote that was really meaningful to me. But I don't know, I think for me today it was a very interesting experience because first I couldn't feel the time at all. Like the fact that you told me it was 35 minutes, I'm really surprised because I'm someone who's always on the go, I always do things all the time. And
Can you do that in 5 minutes, please? Yeah.
and so it was very interesting for me that's why I came, because I wanted to experience a new feeling and different experiences. And I think what I really experienced, which was interesting, is that I felt a little bit less barrier between, within and the outside.
A little less what?
Like, at least,
I just didn't understand the words.
Yeah. Like, there was no, boundaries.
No boundary.
Yeah,
The boundary between inside and outside got a little soft.
Exactly. And it was interesting because
Cool.
it really flowed, and I never experienced that before. And I think for me the most interesting thing is that there's just so much more actually when you relax and peaceful. You completely aware, versus I'm so used to doing so many things at the same time, and I get so little. So
We have just witnessed someone waking up to mindful awareness. She has just described what is mindful awareness. To describe, wow, I got still and then I opened up to all this and there was this rich experience and I had the really cool. That's a pretty good first meditation.
thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Yeah. And then we can talk about, if this is something you want to do on your own. I mean, this is just what I guided today. There's lots of options, things to do. But, there's nothing wrong with what we did today. And you had a pretty good experience with it. You could just play with, that relaxation with the breath. Okay, watch the breath. All right, you could do that. Just move in and out. Like I said, I came in here last night. I was meditating, and then I opened my eyes and I thought, what would be, because my goal isn't to come up with a good meditation. My goal is to come up with a meditation that's going to help people in their lives in a good way. What's something I can do for 30 minutes that will help somebody in their lives if they never come again? And I went, And that was just kind of my thought. And I didn't do it exactly the way I thought, I just had that general notion of that journey. But you got it.
Thanks a lot.
You got it. You are welcome.
Yeah.
You are welcome. And what I get, there's a word called mudita. There's the Brahma Viharas. There's I'm not going to go there. It's explaining loving kindness and equanimity and compassion, karuna, and there's a word mudita, which when I first discovered the word, I went, there's a word for it. Oh, how great. And mudita is a special kind of joy. They call it sympathetic joy, but that's not really the best description. The description I know and like, and my teacher talks about it this way too. It's the kind of joy one has at another person's growth, especially spiritual growth. Parents get this with their kids, right? The kids get something and the parent goes, and I know Jewish nachas, you had it's a feeling of joy and delight that it's nothing I got, it's something somebody else got something, but I get a joy from it. And when it's especially someone's spiritual growth, that's usually how we're meeting this. And as a teacher, you get to live in that. And I can't even describe it. I'm feeling it right now. I'm going, ah, it's like, I'm hearing the reports, and it's like my gift is you going, ah, like, aha, that's like, oh, I'm like, you're making my day here, it's like all nice and fuzzy and no boundaries up here, right? But there's a word for that. The fact there's a word for it, I like it, that means we cultivate it, mudita. Some people call it mudita, but, I go with Shinzen because he tends to know how things are said, but he calls it mudita. And so I just got a big wave of mudita as you were talking, so good. Thank you.
Thank you.